We are up to the fourth of the Aseret HaDibrot. So far we have Anochi Hashem Elokecha, we have Lo Yeh Lecha Elohim Achirim, and Lo Tisa, and we are up to Zechor Et Yom Hashabbat L'Kadesho. So Zechor Et Yom Hashabbat L'Kadesho, the famous words, keeping Shabbat. Remember Shabbat, the Kadesho, to make it holy. Okay, so I would like you to learn these 5 words. If you don't know these words, I wrote down words I thought you might not know from this whole paragraph over here. So the words are ve'amaltecha, which is your maidservant, ve'gercha, from the word ger, which means stranger, bisharecha, in your gates, vayonach, and he rested, uvehemtecha, in your animals. If you need to look at this video just to get the translations, when you're going to do your summary, you can go back to look at this part of the video. Okay, so let's go through it. Listen carefully because you're going to be summarizing this, so I want you to get every detail to get full credit. Okay, the fourth of the Aseret HaDibrot, Hashem himself is commanding us, talking to us, Jewish people, I want you to remember, Zechor, remember, Et Yom Hashabbat L'Kadesho. Okay, so it's interesting, he uses the word Zechor, remember the day of Shabbat to make it holy. Okay, what does that mean? Sheshet Yamim, 6 days, Ta'avod, you should work. Hashem's telling us you should work. You should work 6 days a week. You should work. You should do all your work over 6 days. However, when it comes to the 7th day, Yom HaShvi'i, Shabbat LaHashem Elokecha. The 7th day, it's time to stop work, relax, put everything away, all cell phones away, all computers away, all working things away. Time to relax. Time to relax and reflect on about Hashem. Yom HaShvi Shabbat LaHashem Elokecha. Lo ta'aseh kol melacha. The pasuk says you may not do any melacha, any work. Who may not do any work? Okay, this is important. So the first person that you should not do any work is ata, which is ata means you. You should not do any work. Who else? Ubincha, and your sons. Ubitecha, and your daughters. Who else? Avdecha, your servants. You're not allowed to make any of your servants. Va'amaltecha, and your maidservants. You may not put them to work. Uvehemtecha, also interesting. Your animals. You cannot make work. Ve'gercha, and your strangers, asher b'sharecha, that are in your gates. Okay, you might learn a little bit more about that, what that means. We'll see. So there's a lot of different things. At some point, you're going to be answering a question to write down all of the things that may not work on Shabbat. So you're going to have to answer all of these. It's you, your sons, your daughters, your servants, your maidservants, your animals, and the gercha, and your strangers. Okay. So Hashem just told us that what we need to do is we need to remember Shabbat to make it holy. 6 days you could work. The 7th day you may not work, not you or your children or anybody working for you, which includes animals and servants. Here, Hashem's about to tell us what's the reason why he made Shabbat. Here's the reason. Not very often the Torah does not give us a reason. We don't know a lot of the reasons. Listen, Hashem tells us to do stuff. We listen because he's the greatest being, whatever you want to call him, ever. And he created the world and he created us. He's the only one that can know what's best for us. So in general, we keep Hashem's laws because we believe that he is the only one that could tell us the right path in life. However, it's interesting here, Hashem seems to give us a reason. Here he does give us a reason why. You want to know why? Because 6 days, now question is, what does days mean? But 6 days Hashem made the Shemayim, the Aretz, et hayam et kol asher bam. He made the sea and everything that's in it. Imagine the sky and the land and the sea, everything in it, all those creatures that you guys talked about in your projects. Amazing jobs. Hashem created Vayonach Bayom Hashvi'i. Hashem rested on the 7th day. Al King Berach Hashem Et Yom Hashabbat. Therefore, Hashem blessed the 7th day to make it holy. Okay, that's a very simple understanding. We're going to get into more details exactly what the reason for Shabbat is, but on a very simple level, Hashem gives us a reason because 6 days Hashem created the world, and the 7th day he rested. So Hashem is creating Shabbat, a day of rest. Okay. So the video is going to pause, and I would like you to write a summary. At least, I would like to see at least 3 sentences. Actually 4 sentences. I'm going to make you 4 sentences will be full credit. Okay, continuing on. Let's continue on here. Let's see here. I would like you to come up with 3 drash questions on this. So whatever you just wrote, I want you to come up with 3 drash questions. Remember, it's not questions that are inside the pasuk, but just about it. Who, what, where, when, why, how, all questions on it. Okay, we are going to be learning a Mishnah and a Gemara. This is might be one of the deepest things we're going to learn. It's a Mishnah, a Gemara, there's a Rashi, and there's also a commentary on the Rashi. I believe it's on this one. No, I don't know if it's on this one. Okay, so just the Rashi on the Gemara. Okay, so let's read a little bit. Let's see how far we can get for today. The Mishnah says like this. Matnisin is a Mishnah. Okay, let's go. The Mishnah says like this. Yom Tov shechal lihiyot erev Shabbat. Imagine you have a Yom Tov that falls out on erev Shabbat. For example, it just happened on Pesach. Pesach, we had Yom Tov, and then after Yom Tov was Shabbat. So erev Shabbat was a Yom Tov. So the Mishnah tells us a very interesting question that comes up. Let's say I want to cook on Yom Tov, where you're allowed to cook on Yom Tov. You're allowed to cook. You're not allowed to do any malacha, but certain things you're allowed to do. You're allowed to cook on Yom Tov. Can I cook on Yom Tov for Shabbat? Shabbat is coming. I usually cook Erev Shabbat. Am I allowed to cook food on Erev Shabbat for Yom Tov? So the Mishnah says, Lo yivashel batchila Yom Tov l'Shabbat. You're not allowed to cook. You're not allowed to start cooking something from Yom Tov for Shabbat. You're not allowed to make something on Yom Tov for Shabbat, unless you do something which we're about to see. Okay, aval, but what are you allowed to do? Mevashel hu Yom Tov. You're allowed to cook for Yom Tov. Ve'im hotir l'Shabbat. And if there's leftovers, you could have leftovers for Shabbat, which means you're allowed to cook food on Yom Tov. And if there's extra, you're allowed to use that extra for Shabbat. Now, there's something you could do, says the Mishnah, in order to be able to cook for Shabbat. What could you do? So there's a concept called this, the oseh tafshil. You should make a cooked item, erev Yom Tov, before Yom Tov starts. Before Yom Tov, when you know that there's going to be Yom Tov, and then Shabbat will be right after Yom Tov, you should make a cooked item before Yom Tov. Okay, the somech alav l'Shabbat, and you'll rely on it for Shabbat. So you're going to be making a cooked item before Yom Tov, and you're supposed to use it for Shabbat. We'll be discussing this further, but when you do that, when you make a cooked item before Yom Tov, before even Yom Tov starts, so it's a regular weekday, you should make a cooked item, put it to the side, and make sure you use it for Shabbat. If you do that, then when it comes time, Erev Shabbat, which is Yom Tov before Shabbat, then you're allowed to cook for Shabbat. You're allowed to cook for Shabbat. Okay. This is actually called an Eruv Tafshilin, for those who've ever heard about it or not. It's called an Eruv Tafshilin. You make an Eruv Tafshilin. I did it just this Pesach. I took some matzah, and I had a cooked egg, a hard-boiled egg, and I put it together. I put it in a Ziploc bag in my fridge so that I have it for Shabbat. And then when it came on Yom Tov, we were allowed to cook food for Shabbat. Okay, so what you're going to do is I want you to just summarize this Mishnah and answer any questions that are after this video. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.